guys, welcome back to Dinner Made Easy with Dina, and I'm Dina. Hey, I've been off camera for a couple weeks. I had a little nose surgery right in the side here, and I had a band-aid on, and it was just not looking good. So I decided I'm not going to share that with the world. So I took a couple weeks off from showing my face on the videos. So I'm back now. My nose is still a little red, but it's fine, and I have no problems. So I just wanted to share that with you in case there were those of you wondering, you know, where's she at? Why isn't she on camera lately? Well, that was why. Now I'm back. So here we go again. We did a really delicious meatloaf recipe, and I'm going to share it with you today. Let me know what you think, guys. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, I appreciate it if you did. It would really help out my channel a lot. It doesn't cost you anything, but it means a ton to me, and I'd really appreciate it. So let's get going on that video, and let's take a look at how we put that meatloaf together. Okay, here we are, guys. So we're going to get started here with our frying pan, and I have it set on a medium-high heat. I am adding 1/4 cup of olive oil. Now that may sound like a lot of oil, but it really isn't for a nice moist meatloaf. That's why we're using olive oil, okay? So I let the oil heat up to about a medium-high, like I said, and then I'm going to turn that down to a medium, and we're going to let those onions cook until they're nice and translucent, and stirring them, of course, every once in a while. So cooking your veggies before you add them to your meatloaf helps add a little bit more flavor. That oil gets the flavor infused in it, and I'm telling you, it's really what makes that meatloaf absolutely delicious. Now, I did use a medium-sized onion, and I used all of the onion because we happen to enjoy onion. If you don't like onion, don't use it. Okay, so now I'm going in with a diced red pepper. You can use any pepper you want. You can use the green bell pepper, the yellow bell pepper, but we do enjoy the nice mildness of the red pepper in this meatloaf. So I'm stirring that right in there and just letting that get nice and kind of a wilted, I hate to say the word wilted, but that's what it looks like when it's almost finished. Then I'm going to go in with some seasonings. Now I will have a recipe attached down below so that you will get exact measurements, but as you know, I tend to measure with love. So I used my Kinder's caramelized onion, about a tablespoon. I'm using about a tablespoon of my Lawry's low sodium seasoning, and as you know, I absolutely love Lawry seasoning, so I do tend to use it a lot. And I've got some parsley. I'm going to put a tablespoon of parsley in there as well. And then we're going to go in and stir that real quick. I don't want anything to burn before we add more of our seasonings. Oh man, that smells so good. So next we're going to go in with some garlic. Yep, garlic. We love garlic. So I used a good-sized tablespoon of garlic. Gave that a nice stir. I also put in about a tablespoon of basil as well. Now it's getting almost ready, so I think what I'm going to do at this point is just go ahead and turn this off and then get going on the next step. So as you probably know, cheddar cheese adds a wonderful flavor and a great texture in the meatloaf, so I'm going with a cup of that. Now I'm just going to break up the ground beef, and it's 80-20, and I have about 2 pounds in here. So you can make a smaller meatloaf, just use lower ratio on your seasonings. You can use bigger, same thing. Okay, so I've got 2 eggs that I've beaten, and I'm going to pour those right in here, right over the top. There we go. And then I'm going in with a cup of cheddar cheese. I probably put 1.25 cups cheddar cheese in there, one a little bit heavier, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can use any cheese you want, just so it's a good melting cheese. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with my vegetables that I cooked. And those with that oil that's in there, oh my goodness. I'm telling you, we already had this for dinner and it was so good. And it's pretty easy. Okay, so now I have about a sleeve and a quarter of Ritz crackers that I just smushed up really good and poured right in there. You can use any kind of cracker you want, but I really like those butter crackers for that wonderful flavor. Now I've got a half a cup of milk and pour that right in there. And I went in with some sambal. And if you like just a little heat to your food, this is really good stuff. I used about a tablespoon, but if you like it spicy, then I'd go in with 2 tablespoons, maybe 3. But we don't want it too spicy, but we like the flavor that it brings. And then I'm just going to break this up. Now remember, when you're doing your meatloaf, do not overwork it. Because if you overwork it, it's going to turn out like a brick. Now, anybody can make a really good meatloaf, I promise you. Just make sure you don't overwork it. Now, I also went in with a tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce. This is kind of a secret ingredient that people don't even think about using, but it is absolutely wonderful. It doesn't stand out, but it enhances the flavor, and you don't have to put more salt into it because, of course, it's already got salt in it. So now I am just going to use my hands and finish incorporating everything together and just kind of, I want to say, aerated as I'm going about stirring this together so that I'm not over handling it. I'm not packing it really hard. I just put it together and just kind of set it in the pan. And of course, you know it's going to fall apart when I get ready to put it into the baking pan. So here's my baking pan. And I did oil it. I used a little spray on both parts of it. Just, I know it's got oil in it, but help it keep it from sticking. The oven has been preheated, by the way, to 375. There we go. And just gently press that in there and press it together. No need for manhandling. This will come out perfectly, and you are going to be the star for doing this wonderful meatloaf. I promise you. There we go. Now just gently make sure that you're folding it and you're leaving a little gap on the sides for the oil and juice to run down and into the bottom of the pan. I'm using my meatloaf pan so that I keep the meatloaf up out of the grease as it cooks. And it also is easier to take it out of the oven that way. And once it gets a little cooler, I can just pick up those little handles and move that meatloaf right to a plate. Into the oven it goes, 375 for about an hour and 20 minutes. Okay, so we're going to get going with our sauce. And I did want to mention to you, when you're handling the meatloaf and taking it out of the oven, make sure you don't pick it up with those handles if you're using a meatloaf pan. They're extremely hot. Okay, so I went in with about a half a cup of ketchup and a heaping tablespoon of molasses. And I was out of brown sugar, so I went with molasses. Boy, am I glad I did. This really gave it a great flavor. Now we're going to put in about a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And we are going to also get ourselves some onion powder and put about a half a teaspoon of onion powder as well. Now, of course, I didn't measure. I measured with love. You can use as much or as little as you like. And we're going to give this a little stir before we get to our mustard. We do add a little mustard. I'd say about a quarter of a teaspoon of mustard, just to kind of give that just the slightest little kick. That acidity really brings out the flavor in the meatloaf. So, and what I'm going to do with this is about halfway, when the meatloaf's about halfway done, I'm going to top it with this topping. Now, I don't want to do it right in the beginning because I don't want it to burn. So I didn't get that part on camera. Sorry, guys. But right now we're going to pull the meatloaf out of the oven because it is done. And I did temp the meatloaf and it was 165 on the nose. So that was a good temperature for us. So I just went ahead and I used my thermometer to make sure that it was temping correctly. And it was. This is fabulous, guys. So are you guys getting hungry for meatloaf yet? I mean, this is fall. Perfect time for a really delicious, comfy meal. And meatloaf with mashed potatoes and all those wonderful things. So give this recipe a shot. It's an easy one and anybody can do it, I promise you. So hang in there. Hey, thanks for joining me today on this wonderful video. I hope you enjoy your meatloaf as much as we enjoyed ours. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you again soon. Bye now.